this topic, I'm going to say thoughts and emotions, and then somebody ran in Balaji told me, don't put emotions, men won't show up. So we decided that we just need to do thoughts. Balaji, it's wonderful for you to introduce me. I'll tell you why, because there are many reasons for it. There's a young lady here with my daughter, and this young lady here, so I'll skip many of those other reasons. But suffice to say, let me put it this way. It was many, many years ago in Balaji's house that thoughts and emotions collided. When we thought Balaji, his mother, most importantly his grandmother and the maidservant were away, and his brother, myself and a few others were, let's put it this way, watching a movie, probably at our age at 17. Some people thought we should not be watching. Little did we realize that the maidservant who we had locked up in the kitchen identified a peephole. And when we heard, let me put it very subtly, joyful noises from the kitchen, she was enjoying the movie better than we were. But that's another story which is probably better told in the bar downstairs than here. And so we can continue that. Balaji, to embarrass you a little further at some point. So this is enough, or can we do that more? Because I can keep on, forget this conversation, we can just talk about that. Still people walking in. So yeah, please come sit. Some seats here. Good looking people walking in at this point, so let's make sure we give some space. Since everybody is almost seated, I'm going to ask you to partake in a ritual which has now become mandatory for everything that I do. Okay? And it goes back to our traditional cultures. And we are going to do 3 of the following things. The same thing 3 times over. Okay? First one. What is this? Namaste. So Namaste is simply many explanations of it, but we have a beautiful explanation in our tradition, in our cultures. And the explanation which resonates most with me is the following. The best in me recognizes the best in you. Okay? The best in me recognizes the best in you. Now, granted, there are husband and wife sitting next to each other here, so it's going to be hard for me to turn to each other and say, please say this. So we won't try that. So I'm going to ask you all to stand up, please. And you're going to and this row is going to turn around and look into the eyes of the person behind them, and then you go one like that. And you're going to do the following. So we are going to do this. So I'm here. I'm going to turn around and say, Namaste, my name is Sanjay. Namaste, Vijay. And then you're going to say, Namaste, Sanjay. Is that clear? Can we try that? Okay, so let's do that again. So everybody with me together. As you turn around, turn into the person. Find a partner. Find a partner, please. Find a partner. You're looking into the person's eyes and Namaste. Go for the Namaste. Most of the men have already planned to leave the room. This is too touchy-feely, that more than they can handle. The drinks, I know people are already singing away their drinks more than anything else. So yeah, I can see you came prepared. Well done. How did I get to feel, guys? How did I get to feel? Sir, I'm going to focus on the men here. And you're the closest to my hairstyle here today. I mean, so I have to get to you here. How did that feel? Felt good? Sure? Other emotions from this side? Vijay, how did it feel?
Great.
Great?
It's been good.
Felt good? Nobody felt uncomfortable? Who felt uncomfortable?
Depends on who you're looking at.
Depends on who you're looking at. Doesn't say very much about you, do it? But my I'm going to ask you to do the most important namaste now. Now you've seen many a namaste, but this is the most important one. Okay? And this is copyrighted by me, many trainers here, including AFCF. Please do not use this. I've got only one trick up my sleeve, and if you use it, I am finished. Okay? So this is the vertical namaste you've done, then do the horizontal namaste. Okay, so please put out. You can be seated. Your peanuts are not going to fall. The secretary special is going to remain there. We've got to make sure about that, sir.
I got that.
You got that. So you're going to put out your right hand, please, or your left hand, whichever you feel comfortable. And then you're going to take that gadget from your thing called the mobile phone. Let's imagine this is a mobile phone, and you're going to do the horizontal namaste. Okay? Just, okay. And then you're going to just look at it closely to make sure it's on that silent mode. And you're just going to focus on that namaste. This is the most important. I have nothing else to contribute in this 45 minutes beyond this. For 45 minutes now, if you can put that on silent. Is that okay? Yeah? Pooja, you're okay with this? You've been wondering what the hell happened? Right. Okay. I'm from Chennai. And I was out of Chennai for about 20 years. Sangeeta. He wants a good-looking person next to him. But nothing changes. I was out of Chennai for about 20 years, and 6 of those years, including 2 more, maybe 8, were spent in Africa. In Southern Africa, I was working in AIDS prevention work in Southern Africa. For 3 years, I lived in Zambia. Now, Zambia, in the southern part of Zambia, there's a community called the Tongas. And we went there to Zambia, to the community of Tongas, to try to convince them to allow our mobile video unit to go there and do some HIV/AIDS videos to be shown there and discussion sessions. This is way back in the early 90s, where HIV was a huge, huge problem. It continues to be, but a huge problem there. And I was with my communications manager, Entro Kabata, and Entro Kabata was talking to the village elders to get this permission, and they were shaking their heads saying no. Of course, if they were in India and they were shaking their heads, we won't know the difference, but there you could tell it was actually a no. At least we can tell the difference. And then slowly I saw the shakes move to nods, and it became a sort of yes. And a phrase came up quite consistently during that conversation. And as Entro and I were driving back from Livingston back to Lusaka, Zambia, which is the capital, I asked Entro, what is that word that I kept hearing? And he said, Tilitonze. And Tilitonze is simply, I said, what does that mean? What is Tilitonze? And he said, Tilitonze means, are we together? Are we together? And what he was referring to in the context of, are we on the same page? Are we understanding each other? Are we in agreement? And somehow, for whatever reason, that phrase struck with me and has been my sort of a line which I've used over the years. And to me, it's now become sort of, Tilitonze is, even internally as human beings, are we together in terms of my body, my mind, my spirit, my emotions? Is that in harmony with that? So I've used Tilitonze constantly in various different kinds of workshops, and become now sort of a metaphor for me for life and how one leads one's life. So I use it as Entro Kawata and the Tongas used it, as a question and as an answer. For this journey, for the next 45 minutes or so, I'm going to be using Tilitonze to ask whether are we on the same page, and guess what the answer is?
Yes.
Tilitonze. So let's try that out once. Tilitonze? Yes. No, yes. I got a yes on that. Tilitonze. Okay. So bear with me now as I tell a quick story which I heard about 2 years ago. And at the end of the story, I'm going to ask you a few questions. So Sunil, just make sure you have your drink properly, and because the questions are coming straight at you, dude. Just at you only, no one else. And all the latecomers will make sure they ask them the questions. No, so everybody's going to be, there's questions for every one of us. Okay, so just ready for the story? Okay. There was once a beautiful princess. And this beautiful princess had 4 boyfriends. The first boyfriend was somebody that she spent most of her day, whenever she had extra time, she spent with this boyfriend. I think they think that you're the princess, like everybody's looking at it. She spent most of the time with this boyfriend. But the second boyfriend was this good-looking fellow. Whenever she wanted to look good on a social occasion, she took this boyfriend. Bonnie, it's very similar to you. We gave this along for this. Balaji brings a different girl to different meetings, and Nikhil, I don't want you to go further. What do you do? So that's another story. Downstairs. So this was the second boyfriend. And then there was a third boyfriend. The third boyfriend was somebody who was willing to talk and listen to her. Whenever she had an issue, she went running to the boyfriend and they would talk. And there was a fourth one who was trying to reach her on the phone a couple of times, but she was sort of ignoring his calls. One day, she's diagnosed with a terminal illness. And the doctor tells her, you've got only 6 months to live. She's mortified, scared. She's a princess and suddenly being told 6 months to live. So she goes running to the first boyfriend. And she says, I'm going to die in 6 months' time. Will you come with me after death? This is who? The one that she spends most of her time with. He looks at her, turns away, and just walks off. She's like dumbfounded. Doesn't know what to say. She goes running to the second one, the good-looking chap. And she asks the good-looking chap, like Vijay here, the good-looking man here, she asks the good-looking boyfriend, will you come with me after death? And he looks at her. He says, you're mad. The day you die, I'm going with somebody else. Just watch out for that. She's not. She goes to her closest confidant, the one that she spends hours, and they have a long conversation into the night. And as the sun is about to rise, she asks him the same question again. Will you come with me after death? He says, I'm sorry, my dear. I can come with you up to the cremation ground, up to the burial ground, but I can't come with you after death. Now this is like taking a knife and putting it down her heart. And she just is almost paralyzed, standing with this head bowed down and just sort of wondering. And she hears a voice in the back. She says, I'll come with you. And she turns around and she can see somebody in tattered clothes somewhere in the distance. She can't really even make out who this person is. She says, who are you? And the man says, I'm the one who's been trying to reach you on the phone, and you haven't answered my calls. That's the end of the story.
What's the question?
So the questions. First question. Who is this princess in our lives? Who is this princess? It's a metaphor for something. Who is this princess? Somebody. Who? Ourselves. Yeah. Nicely done. Ourselves. Smart crowd at MCC. Madras Club, it took them 25 minutes to come up with the answer. So pretty good. 1-0 MCC. Ourselves. Okay. Smart MCC members and their guests. If princess is ourselves, you and me, who then is the first boyfriend that she spends most of her time with? Dad, husband, our careers, work.
Best friend, possessions.
What does this person do at the time of the question? Just turns away and walks off. No wonder he said husband. No.
Body.
The body. The body. The very definition of death. Separation of the body. And this Buddhist monk who told me this story as part of a group said, even in the monastery, 70% of my time was looking after my own body. I was feeding it, I was resting it, I was clothing it. Everything is with me and my body, let alone going to the gym and anything associated with that. So then, if that is the first boyfriend, who is this good-looking boyfriend? What do we do when we want to look good?
Materialistic pleasures.
Materialistic pleasures, like what?
Makeup.
Makeup?
Anything.
That means what?
Money.
Money? Makeup? Shopping?
Dress up well.
It is actually these material possessions. And or these, for some reason it's always fascinated me, these things that we do to look good, right? For some reason, you can put a MBA on your business card. You can put PhD. MBA is not allowed for some reason. Why is MBA better than MBA? I don't know. But somehow you can't put MBA. But we put these little titles to look good. What do we do to look good? Whether it's our clothing, our fancy new cars, whatever we do to look good. And the very definition of these things are, at the time of death, they go to somebody else. Okay, then who then is this third boyfriend? The one that spends hours listening, talking to you, but can come only up to the cremation ground.